Well, we're live. Hello, everybody.
Hey,
Hi, Amy.
Hello.
thank you for joining us, Amy.
Yes, we will.
Most welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, Luna's joining us too. Might be a little bit noisy here just for a minute.
She's not even loud. That's crazy.
I know she
She's still a
tries.
puppy. A puppy.
She's a puppy. Daddy's coming home, that's why.
Ah, she gets it.
Oh, she's not interested anymore. Daddy's home and she's still coming here. She's still with Mom. Well, we'll wait just a couple more minutes.
Yes.
We'll make sure that we start on time though, and make sure that we actually get this topic started and get through the information.
And if you're in the chat or listening live, you can send any question during the podcast. We're gonna read the comment and then respond to the question or react to the comment. So please share with us what your adventure was like and how you get it, or maybe you don't, and you
Yeah,
have question about it, and it's okay because that is so confusing, the whole FND thing. So what about it's 2 o'clock? What about we start?
it's 2 o'clock where you are. It's 4 o'clock where I
Sorry,
am, and it's
sorry.
9 o'clock where Amy is.
Well, whatever. We're on the clock.
We're a worldwide organization.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's do it. You want to start that,
All right.
Ashley?
Yes, well, yeah, we will. Well, just while Luna jumps up and we'll get it started. So my name is Ashley and I am co-founder of the FND Warriors. Tonight, my friends and co-host Elizabeth and I, along with our special guest Amy Hyde, and I are going to be discussing mental health. We also want to introduce you to our cause. We are a support group, and we're here to educate and provide information, guide you through your FND journey. We're on many different platforms. We have a 24/7 chat on Discord. We know everyone's journey is unique to them and can be a roller coaster of symptoms. We want to make the condition more transparent and there to be more awareness throughout the world.
Yeah.
So we want to start off by giving a definition of what FND or functional neurological disorder is. So functional neurological disorder, it's a condition where there is a problem with how the brain sends and receives information, leading to symptoms that can mimic neurological disorders like strokes or multiple sclerosis. Symptoms can include non-epileptic seizures, weakness or paralysis, and movement disorders. But these are not due to a structural disease of the nervous system. Instead, these stem from issues with how the brain functions, often triggered by psychological stress or trauma. FND was previously referred to as conversion disorder or hysteria, but modern understanding treats it as more of a neurological issue rather than solely psychiatric. This condition is not to be considered a psychiatric issue or purely a neurological problem with the nervous system. That's, right now, it leads to patients being transferred from one department to another because no department is taking responsibility for the condition. There's only a few hospitals that are creating a department and research for it all around the world. This podcast tonight delves into the topic will again to discuss the intricate connection between mental health and FND, examining how psychological states can manifest into physical symptoms, and conversely, how physical manifestations of FND can impact psychological well-being. I'm now going to hand it over again to our guest, Amy, all the way from the UK. So take it away, Amy.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. So a bit about me. I've had FND symptoms for, since I was 18, so over 20 years. And I was diagnosed formally 2 years ago. My first experience of FND was when I was in school and the school bell rang, and suddenly I realized I couldn't stand up. They sent me to a neurologist at the time, and the neurologist said, oh, you've had a virus, really. Oh, it's just after effects of that, it'll get better. And it never did. And I told my symptoms to health professionals over the years, only for it to be kind of brushed off and let's focus on your mental health. Until I was diagnosed 2 years ago. My background is, I've had a very, very varied set of jobs. But for the last few years, I've been working in a mental health crisis centre where people come in where they are in a mental health crisis, and we de-escalate them and try and keep them safe for the night. I also have my own business where I look at well-being skills and adapt them to the individual, being autistic myself, particularly to neurodivergent individuals. Because sometimes these skills, we're all unique people, and sometimes we have to look at them and turn them on their head. And I'm looking forward to sharing some of these skills a bit later.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
joining us,
you.
and it's very nice to have a guest. After like our last guest was in November, if I remember.
November,
It's
yeah.
been a while. It's been
Wow.
a while. So we're
It's
Yeah, well,
lovely to be here.
we did take quite a break over the Christmas holiday, and we've had a little bit of a break because of sickness and stuff like that. So yeah,
yeah.
but it's definitely nice to have a guest again. So thank you.
We will try
You're
to
most
have a
welcome.
guest. I will try to have a guest every month or 2 months. But it really depends on what people want to hear about and if we have any opportunities too. We're always
Mm-hmm.
trying to ask our members what they wanted uh, heard about,
Here.
hear about, or anything like that. So that's
Yeah.
that's them choosing more than us. But we feel like mental health was a really big topic we needed to um, talk about.
Just to discuss, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll start off with talking about the symptom origins. So start talking about psychological stress. So many individuals with FND report that their symptoms began or were exacerbated or made worse by significant emotional or psychological stress. Thinking about that, somebody like myself who suffered extreme emotional, psychological stress when I was a child, that has definitely triggered FND symptoms in me as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't mean that it's just in my head, but it just means that stress, it triggers it or worsens those neurological symptoms as I've gotten older.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you were having like it's not always recent stressors, but it can be all throughout your life, childhood, even things you
Mhm.
don't remember.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not just from my childhood. Like I've had 16 brain surgeries. It could be
exactly.
trauma from that. It could be PTSD, medical PTSD. I have so much PTSD from my brain surgeries. I have medical PTSD
Mm,
from the way the medical system has treated me. I have so much PTSD just from other things. So there's so much that could have triggered my FND that that it could be a wide range of things.
Yeah, and actually, that's usually how it's starting. Usually, there's a big trauma that the body doesn't
Yeah.
know how to react to, and it's just gonna kind of fall apart some way. My trauma that got it, and come like Amy, there are other times where nothing happened. You just couldn't get up. And my trauma was that I was in a surgery, and when I woke up, I had FND. I didn't have it prior, but the trauma on the body caused it, and the stress that you're putting, like the body, even if it's not like a psychological stressor, a stressor is um, a really big trigger for the body, and I tend
Mm-hmm.
to have more or bigger symptoms or new symptoms that are because I had new symptoms that appeared over the months and years, and they were usually caused by a, a spike in stress, psychological stress. So
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there's definitely an association, a noted association between FND and past trauma, including physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. Um,
yeah,
Trauma might not be immediately apparent, and it might be deeply repressed.
Yeah, I'd say that's
Ta-
definitely my
and
experience
that's
as
me
well.
as that's my
Yeah.
experience as well.
yeah.
This is something that's recently come up in my life. Sorry, I have a very sick husband, and I have a dog in the background that wants to play. Luna is it's
It's her
probably not the best subject, but sorry about
it's her
that.
time. It's her time of the
Um,
day of being active.
it is. She sleeps all morning and wants to play all afternoon, so he's keeping her occupied. I do have a past history of sexual abuse, and it is something that I repressed for a very long time. It's recently come up. It's not something I want to go into much more detail about than that, but it is something that has recently come up, and it's something that's really affecting me. Um, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm so
so
sorry you're
yeah.
going through that. It's so hard.
Sorry that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really not easy right now.
I know. I know. Just
Understandably.
take some big breaths
Yeah.
because I haven't seen you. I haven't heard you breathe for like 30 seconds now. So just
I know.
don't drop dead on me, please. Not
Yeah.
right now.
I won't. Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah.
changing the
No.
situation by making her laugh, and that works sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
It's not always
Luna's here.
the good way.
Luna's in the room, so it's okay. Luna's in the room, so it's okay. No, it's
Yeah,
okay.
Oh, I'm so glad you have her.
right.
No, you know what? Since I've had Luna, I've had one seizure, and I was having 8 to 10 seizures a day, and I've gone down to having one seizure since I've had her. So, she is an amazing, amazing, amazing tool, and sh- amazing. I don't even know what to call her. She's my
Distraction.
miracle.
She's the
She's my
distraction.
miracle. She's
Yeah.
my miracle. So
It's
I
wonderful.
just, yeah. But anyways, that is all I have to say about that subject. But yeah, so trauma can definitely affect FND symptoms. It is affecting me, and it is why I'm in my living room rather than my office, because I don't want to get off my couch. It is my heating pads here, all my stuff is here. I have an office set up off of my couch, and I just don't want to get off of my couch right now because
Comfort
it's my
zone.
comfortable place,
Yeah,
and it's my comfortable place. It's my safe space.
exactly. Well,
That's
stay
fantastic.
there.
And you're role modeling accommodations there to make things work for you, which I think is
Yeah.
brilliant also.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll move us along to conversion disorder, which is the old term to describe FND. It was coined by Freud, who believed that the functional neurological symptoms were a way, basically came from repressed trauma or repressed ideas. And this distress was converted into physical symptoms like paralysis, seizures, sensory loss. And the conversion wasn't a conscious process, but rather the brain's way of dealing with this overwhelming stress or conflict. However, there are many people who have been diagnosed with FND that don't have any apparent or obvious trauma. So a broader term, FND, functional neurological disorder, was brought into the DSM-5 to kind of incorporate that and be more inclusive and be a broader term.
Yeah. So if you've been
Makes sense.
if you've been diagnosed with conversion disorder, because they still use it in so many countries.
Yes.
Now it's
It's
FND. It's and there's also people that are being just diagnosed with PNES, which are just the uh, non-epileptic seizure, and that kind of
mhm.
gets into that as well. So there's many things that goes under the umbrella of FND, variant types of functional disorder, and they're all comorbidities in 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 the mental health field for that um, for FND. So one of them, it's actually a functional neurological symptom disorder. It's actually the broad term, but it's the umbrella. It's getting all the different disorder under one term, which is FND. Um, it involves one or more symptom of altered voluntary motor or sensory function that are explained by neurological or medical symptoms. Symptoms must cause significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. And this is what it's going to follow is a non-exhaustive list of mental health comorbidities linked to FND. Um, it's important to know that we're not healthcare professional, well, other than Amy, but uh, and we are talking based on our research and shared experience. So if you need, always seek uh, help from a professional when you're going through this. It's really important.
Yes, that is very true. Yes.
okay. So I'll move us on to functional movement disorders,
Yeah.
which is a subset of FND, which primarily affects movement. This can include abnormal control of movement like tremors, dystonia, which is like jerky, kind of stiff movements, or gait abnormalities, which is when you walk unusually.
Yeah.
These symptoms are not consistent with a known structural neurological disease. I have a lot of movement disorders, but I reported these and no one was really paying attention. But what actually got me my diagnosis is that I have also functional tics. So
Mm,
before I feel anything like a stiffness or coming on, I start to get verbal and start twitching, and sometimes it would keep me up all night. And I went to the doctor about that, and they sent me for a Tourette's to a neurologist to discuss Tourette's. And the doctor was like, "No." I explained all the funny symptoms, and they looked at it together, and
but it
that was
wasn't
how I got
just
it. So
Tourette. I think Tourette is tics and
yeah, he
vocal,
said I
but
didn't have Tourette's; that my tics were functional.
yeah, exactly. Okay.
Mm.
Can it be
Mm.
showed on any uh any test or anything like or it's just they kind of by exclusion they're like, well, if you have this you kind of tend to be more in the functional neurological disorder, or like how does that work?
I think it was based on not only the whole picture having like the other functional symptoms, but also things like timing. Did it come on in childhood? Do they get worse when
Mm,
you're stressed, and things like that? So through the history,
gotcha.
I can't remember the exact criteria, but
Yeah. Oh no, it's fine, it's fine.
that was how it came
It's
about.
just wanted to know because there are so many people are diagnosed with so many things before FND. because they just don't know, the medical professional don't know what you have, so they're gonna
Yeah.
put one
Yeah.
diagnosis after the
I got
other.
fibromyalgia. I got fibromyalgia for 8 years before I got
But you never had it. You were misdiagnosed.
no. Oh, I was misdiagnosed. Yeah, yeah, for years and
Yeah.
years and years.
Same. 18 or 20 odd years ago. Oh, it's just the after effects of a virus.
Yeah,
And I
and
kept reporting it, and still nothing.
like you said earlier, they're like, yeah, it's gonna go by itself. Like, you're gonna be fine and everything. And
Mm.
that's a really triggering thing for FNDers, because they're all gonna tell us it's gonna go away. You're gonna be fine. But there are many cases that are not going, like, are that are not gonna be recovering 100%. There is hope for recover,
Mm.
but it takes time. It takes to retrain the brain and get much
Mm.
more care into our mental health, for sure. Because these symptoms came up because we were maybe um, being in denial about stressors, or there were so many things that we kept uh, inside us, that the body had to do something about it. They're like, okay, I can't handle just being in denial anymore. You need to do something, and it's just gonna show by messing everything up. So
Exactly. And like mine were coming out in functional seizures.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I, I fully believe that I pushed through things when my body told me not to. And now
Mhm.
my body's saying, no, you're not going through that again. And I'm going to make sure of it.
Yep.
Exactly.
At
It's
least in
telling you.
my case, anyway.
It's like last
Yeah.
night
And then like
I had a really big migraine. Like, it just started, and I felt it coming, and I was like, okay, I feel the stress in my chest. I feel it coming. If I'm not doing anything right now to release the stress, I'm gonna have a migraine. I'm gonna have a hard time to get back. And I went in my bedroom. I started breathing exercise and doing some meditation for anxiety, and took some um, anxiolytic, and I don't know how it's called in English, but um, what they call is Ativan. um, and it's really helping me when I'm borderline, and I know I am. I'm taking that, and
Mhm.
it gets much better. So I almost got into a big episode last night.
yeah.
So it cannot happen at any time. It's just that lately I've been very stressed with all the things that are happening in my life, and it's okay, because life are stressful, but it's just that you need to be able to deal with them, deal with counter, kind of going and repair what you've been doing to your body in some way. You need to make sure that you're getting the time for your body to recover. You need to give it the space and everything. It's just learning about how to handle your mental health when you know it's
Yeah.
struggling. You need to
Yeah.
be able
Absolutely.
And
to be aware of it, and you need to be able to do something about it, which are two different things.
absolutely. And that brings us down to functional seizures, also known as psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, which I suffer from, not formally diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I suffer from. Um, so patients experience episodes that resemble epileptic seizures, which are seizures that people who suffer from epilepsy um, have, but they're not caused by epilepsy. They do not respond, and anti-epileptic medications are often triggered by emotion and sorry, they do not respond to anti-epileptic. Oh, sorry. These seizures do not respond to anti-epileptic medications and are often triggered by emotional and psychological stressors. I'm
It's
sorry.
it's actually it's actually the true that anti-epileptic
Yep.
medication
Yep.
is gonna cause epilepsy if you're not having it. So make sure before taking any pills for it, make sure that you have um a result like an EEG that is gonna show that you have some different um what is it called? I have energy, but it's not that. It's electricity in the brain, electricity activity probably. That should help. Ashley.
I know what you mean.
So yeah, and get make sure you have epilepsy before taking the medication. But I just got not a non-epileptic seizure after 3 years, about a month ago, and that was really out of nowhere. I never had it. I had all the symptoms separately, but never at the same time. And so when I called my doctor, he's like, "Okay, so it's like the same as before, but all together." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, okay, continue with what you're doing." And like, I'm like, "Okay." Like, I wanted to make sure that because there's no medication or anything like that, so it's just like, well, that's good that you told me and do what you need to do. And yeah, there's no that's just really
Mm.
weird uh how they don't know what to say. And because there's nothing to say, I'm not waiting for an answer because there isn't any. Like, it's not going to be a magic
No.
pill that it's going to happen. um but there is help, there is recovery, it happens. It's just not with medication. I just want to make sure that I'm clear on that. um it gets us to functional sensory disturbance, which involves symptoms related to sensory functions such as numbness, tingling, or loss of sensation with any organic cause. Sensory symptoms might include altered vision, hearing, or touch perception. I actually that was my first symptom. When I woke up after the surgery, I couldn't feel my skin on my entire body. And I was like, that's weird. Maybe it's the anesthesia that is still wearing off and everything. And they're like, okay, we'll keep you at the hospital and see if it's going like it's coming back and everything. And it never did. And to this day, I still have no sensation on my skin. I have sensory issue with my eyes. My eyes is just altered every day. Every minute can change. The also the I have a taste and smell dysfunctions, and sometimes I taste it really um like 100%, and sometimes I don't taste it at all, and I haven't changed anything, and it could be like it can change in a couple of minutes, so it's very weird.
I find it so interesting how different and varied everyone's symptoms are. I
I
have visual
know.
loss, but it comes on, it lasts for about 20 minutes to an hour, and it's like visual snow that gets thicker and thicker, and then
Yes.
it disappears.
Yes.
My sensory is like the ants. It's kind of like prickling, like ants are walking all
Mm.
over me. Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. And it's weird how there's no amount of time that it is like it can last for a few minutes, but it can last for days. It really depends
Mm,
on how the body is overwhelmed and how it's processing
yeah.
everything. So yeah, but I heard many cases of losing vision for an amount of time, so within the FND
Mm,
community.
And this is associative amnesia. It's characterized by an inability to recall important personal information, usually of traumatic or stressful events, where the amnesia cannot be explained by ordinary forgetfulness. This is considered within the broader spectrum of FND when it involves neurological presentations.
Yeah, yeah. This one is another one that is ah, it's a lot. When you cannot rely on your brain, like okay, it's creating symptoms, okay, but when you actually cannot remember some stuff and you're kind of lost because you don't know if you had that conversation. If not, um, it's really
I can
distorted.
never rely on my brain.
Exactly. And that's another thing about functional cognitive disorder, which involve cognitive symptoms like problem with memory, attention, or executive functioning, which are variable and do not follow the consistent pattern seen in condition like dementia or traumatic brain injury. So it's really different, uh, come and goes. Some days I cannot, at the attention I cannot have for more than 5 minutes. So I'm changing like I'm changing things to do every 5 minutes because I cannot concentrate on it anymore. I go from my computer to my phone to my uh an activity, heart, like many things, but I cannot do it for like more than 5 minutes sometimes, and it's really hard. And memory
Yeah, for
too.
sure.
Memory is a big one too. So yeah,
Me, I take photos of everything wherever I go. If I've been driven somewhere, where's the car? Take a photo of that. Wherever I've been,
yeah,
where I've put something, take a photo of that, and then I just kind of flick through a bit later and go, "Oh, do I need that one? Not anymore. Get rid, get rid, get
exactly.
rid." Otherwise, I'd be completely lost.
Exactly. Every time we have an idea or anything, I'm like, okay, I need to write this down because I'm never gonna remember that. It's just how it is, and I have so many notes, and we actually have to take so many notes to me and Ashley to just be able to um get that community going because we have awesome ideas. We just don't remember them.
Yeah, we don't remember them at all. Yeah, we'll think of something, and 5 minutes later we'll be like, "What was that we were thinking about?" So
Yeah.
you have to write everything down,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I have the memory of I don't know what, but I just have no memory.
But it's been worse lately. It's been
Oh,
like
so much worse.
you look lost. You look like and just earlier we had a conversation, and after that you saw like you saw something about the conversation. You were like, I don't remember that, and I'm like, no, no,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
fine,
My
you know.
memory is.
And it's
I've been so lost lately.
but it's I just want to explain to the people how it can happen sometimes, and so they know that we it can be short term but also long term memory. So there's no, yeah. I had a friend that I was actually uh that I have in Alberta, and she forgets what no, she forget that she said it, and I forget that she said it. So we're always having the same conversation over and over again. So yeah, it's all the people around us are like, okay, well, just redo that conversation again. Okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna go do something else. So yeah, it's another world.
Are we at functional limb weakness?
Yes.
Okay, so that refers to a condition where there's a
Um,
reduced ability. Oh,
actually, not. Persistent postural perceptual dizziness, which
okay.
is a subtype of FND recognized by the Barony Society, characterized by persistent dizziness without specific triggers, often after an episode of acute vestibular disturbance or other provoking events. I have that every morning. I'm dizzy. Every time I'm flying, I'm going up the stairs. I'm dizzy. I get dizzy so much, like all the time. And it's just my new normal. I'm always a little dizzy. It's just that when I'm really dizzy, I need to sit down and everything. But it's something I need to deal with on the daily. Now we are at,
Then we're on
yeah.
functional limb weakness. So it refers to a condition where there's a reduced ability to move one or more limbs effectively, but this weakness is not due to a direct injury or disease in the muscles, nerves, or brain responsible for the movement. Instead, it's often linked to how the brain and nervous system coordinate movement. So it's more about how you move. It's not about
Well,
like,
I heard a lot of people that are having a really hard time because they feel like that their legs are in cement and they cannot
yeah,
do anything, and it's so hard to just take
yeah.
one
I
step
was gonna
after the
mention something, but
other.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I know you're actually you have that symptoms, right, Ashley?
Yeah,
Um,
I have I can. I'm doing a lot better with my walking.
that's true.
But yeah, I can have I can my walking waxes and wanes, but I can have problems with my walking. But when I do have problems with my walking, my legs feel like cement.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I have too. I've had times. It tends to be one that when things are really bad for me,
Mm,
and then it's just like my husband has to lift me out of bed to help me get to the toilet because I just can't seem to get my legs to take my weight.
Yeah,
yes, yes, I
Mm,
had that. And that feels so weird when you cannot do anything. Like you cannot even go to the bathroom by
yeah,
yourself. I
exactly.
felt I know that was a trick that was very hard for me because I had that it doesn't happen anymore, but it happened for maybe a year, and most of that year I was home
Mm,
alone. So that was really hard because I was like, well, how am I gonna get to the bathroom if I have nobody to take me to the bathroom?
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Um,
It's
I know that if people are having that, they're on Amazon they sell bags for doing your thing, but in bed.
yeah,
Um, it's it's much better than just having to do it in your bed.
the
Um,
yeah,
alternative.
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
So, and I know that
absolutely.
yeah, I know that a lot of people are also suffering from uh urinal
incontinence.
yeah incontinence
Mm.
and everything. So anything can be affected in the body with FND. There's no
I mean, if you go down to paralysis, you could have incontinence. So
exactly. Well, that's the one. Actually, it's the next topic. And when I have a paralysis, um, it's usually at night. Um, and it's when I'm stuck in my nightmares. So it's very weird because I wake up, but I'm not able to move. So I get back to bed. Well, I fall asleep again. Then I wake up, and I can be stuck like that for hours at a time.
Mm.
So it's really triggering to just not be able to do anything. And most of the time, I have to pee, and I'm like, I need to get up. I need to go to the bathroom. Like, can we just get a like? It's okay. Like,
we get out of
I
the
get it.
stream. Like let's do this.
Like,
Let's
it's
like Mario. Let's find let's find the princess.
exactly. So yeah, functional paralysis is extend this concept to where one or more limbs may be completely unable to move. Like functional weakness, it's not due to a typical neurological cause such as stroke, spinal injury, or muscle disease. It's really created by the brain, and it can come and go. It can be uh, one leg or one arm or two legs or the whole body. It really depends. I know that when I'm paralyzed, I the only thing I can move is my eyes, so I can. But if I need to ask for help, there I mean I have my watch that I have, like, I can call on it, but I need to be able to move to get to my watch. So uh
Mm.
there are things that can help out there if you're able to move a little bit or do something like that to um to help you, but it's not always good tools. It's you need to find the tools that are gonna be good for you. That's what FND treating FND is all about. You're gonna live a new normal. You're gonna live a
Mhm.
new life, and you need to find the way you're gonna be able to have that life, but being comfortable after all.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, don't be embarrassed about it and do it sooner rather than later, because the first time I used a stick, I don't know, there was a psychological thing there that I just
Oh
did
yeah.
not want to be, using a stick. And I thought, what would people say? Because you normally don't have this problem, because I don't go out unless I know, that things were going to be okay. And I felt very, very sure. And,
We always get the look.
people don't
The
care as much as you expect them to. And,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
all in my head, and it made
Well,
such a difference.
and we always get the look when we are different in any way, and maybe
Mm,
it's just a little tick or something. People are looking at us a different way, and that's why so
yeah.
many FND warriors are having a hard time to get out in public, especially alone, because they don't know if
Mm,
something's gonna happen and people are gonna how the people are gonna react. Are they gonna just leave the person
yeah.
there, or they're gonna call an ambulance, or but most of the time we with FND it's really rare that we need medical care. It does happen because some
Mm,
of us have different. We don't just have FND, but if it's just
That's
FND,
mm,
yeah.
it's they're not gonna do much with you in the ER. If that makes sense.
no.
Yeah. Even with me having my brain issues, they still don't do much with me in the ER. They're like, oh, you have FND now. They just write me off in the emergency room. They don't do anything
Even if
now.
you have other things, they're like,
Mm,
well, you have FND.
You
We
have
cannot do this,
FND.
do anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They treat you horribly now. They're like, oh, you have FND. Oh, okay. You can wait in the ER for 21 hours and then just go home and
Yeah.
ugh, I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, that was a hard time. The last month was so bad,
Yeah.
but so good at the same
Yeah.
time. We got so
We got
many
much done.
much done. We have a like bigger community. We can share. We can
We were on Spotify.
exactly. We have so many things that are new, but it's also
Yeah.
surviving this life that is a thing we need to do on the daily.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so that brings us down to functional speech disorders. And that's known as dysphonia in the medical world. So it involves disruptions in the normal production of speech sounds, fluency, rhythms that might present as hoarse, weak, or strained voice. People can also experience stuttering, cluttering, mutism, and aphasia like symptoms. This is something that I suffer from.
Yeah.
Like difficulty finding words or using language. It is not due to a structural or neurological disease, but rather due to functional disturbances in the brain circuit. So Elizabeth can definitely attest to the fact that I suffer from stuttering and cluttering.
Yeah.
Um, definitely much more at night than in the
Yes.
morning. In the
Yes.
morning, I'm very go 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 go, and my brain is on. Ashley is ready to do everything and go,
But
but
it's
in the
so
evening, it's a weak, strained, stuttering, cluttering
it
voice.
it's normal. Your body needs rest, and it's telling you throughout the day that it's having less and less energy, and it's telling you by having symptoms. But
Yeah.
I do have a hard time. Some days I'm having just a hard time to talk and remember what I have to talk about. Um, and I forget all the words. Sometimes like I'm like, help, I don't know the word. And we have to do that game, me and Ashley, where we're trying to find the word.
And she'll be like, "Tell me what the word is," and I'm like, "You're not even giving me a hint of what you're looking for." And I'm like, I have no idea. And then she'll be like, the game's even more fun because her first language is French, so it's
Yes.
even more fun playing
Yeah,
with her.
yeah. Sometimes,
Hmm.
but I don't even remember the words in French. I just don't remember the word in general. It's just, and some people are like, say it in French. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know the word in general. It's not because I cannot translate it. It's just because I don't remember it. It's it's different. But yeah, people think I'm just having a hard time with the French and English barrier, but it's not that. It's my memory that is bad sometimes.
Yeah, so we have good times in our meetings.
Yeah, play the
A
game
lot of
of
stuttering and cluttering and word finding, fact finding happens.
playing the game of
So that
FND brain. We should call it that, the game of FND brain.
yeah, yeah. Then the next one is functional swallowing, known as dysphagia. It involves difficulties in the process of swallowing, where there's no apparent physical obstruction or neurological damage. This might manifest as choking, coughing during meals, the sensation of food sticking in the throat or chest, or feeling a lump in the throat. This issue arises from how the brain coordinates swallowing actions. So this is like you get food stuck literally in your esophagus.
You have that, right, Ashley?
And
I know you have trouble swallowing sometimes.
sometimes, yeah, it's I'm okay now, but it like sometimes when my symptoms get really bad, I have trouble, but I'm
Yeah,
okay. Like sometimes I have to take pill by pill, but now I can take them all, but if my
yeah, it
symptoms get
depends.
really bad, I have to take pill by pill.
Yeah, I never had that, but I heard a lot of cases of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really dependent on my symptoms. It really is really dependent on my symptoms. I've really noticed that. Like I should really keep a journal,
we
and
should, we should.
Those F&D journals, that the books that we have, the F&D warrior
Yes,
journals.
yes, that we're
Yes.
selling on our website.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
actually
really want to
have
get one of
I
those.
I use the um I don't know. You don't have iPhone, but there's a diary function with Apple where they're asking how do you feel today and what happened and what has triggered you. Is it friends? Is it family? Is it blah blah blah? And how did you feel? There's like a list of symptoms and everything, and you can do it uh in the moment or for the whole day. So that's what I've been doing right now. But I want to get back to like journaling. Sometimes when I feel very
Yeah.
overwhelmed and I feel like I have to get this out of my head, I'm gonna just take a, a notepad and start writing about how I feel and what I should do and just to get this out of my head because it's stressing me out. But yeah.
Mm,
So here
yeah.
are all the it's not all of them, but a lot of the disorders that are under the umbrella of FND. Let's see about treatment approaches that can help.
So the main one is psychotherapy. Um, that's the main one that everyone is when you get diagnosed with FND. The first thing that you're going to be told is you need to go for psychotherapy and you need to take CBD. CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a method of taking acceptance and commitment therapy. And other forms of psychotherapy and can be effective in managing FND by addressing underlying psychological issues. That's addressing your trauma
Yeah,
and your
I
stress.
yeah, actually have a therapist, so it can help me. It has been helping me uh, managing my emotions, and I feel like that's a big one that is a trigger for FND when you cannot deal with
Exactly.
your emotion, you're stressed. You're gonna put some stress on your body, and it's gonna cause more bad than good. And so, but before that, I couldn't even know what emotion I was living. I couldn't identify when I was angry or when I
Yeah.
was having really big
Mhm.
um emotion that I yeah and he helped me with that and now I'm better at identifying the emotion and what I should do. So this one
Yeah.
is a good one.
Absolutely. As they say, you've got to name it to tame it. And I
Exactly.
think it's really important with emotions as well, is to notice what's going on in your body, because sometimes I'm feeling an emotion, I can't identify it, I get the feelings wheel out, and I'm still not quite sure. Like before, I used to get like goose pimples, and my skin was standing up there, and I'd be really anxious, but I just think I was cold and put a jumper on. And it's like trying to, I'm not very good at, well, I've never been historically good at recognizing what's going on with me. Maybe it's the
I
autism
know,
and poor interoception,
but
but it's
mm,
something that can be
a,
learned.
a lot of people are having a hard time with those signals. They cannot put like they're not even listening to them. They're
Yeah.
they're they're
I
just
think our current world, I think it encourages dissociation in many
oh yes,
ways.
oh yes. So it's really important to get back and connect with your body and connect with
Mm,
and get that mental health better in general, so you can better manage it when you have big symptoms or big events that are happening or stressful, and you know how to deal with them more than uh just
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah, have to deal with it one well yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm looking for a word, but it's fine. It's
You can't find the word.
Indeed, it. It's gone.
fine. Okay, so another one is mindfulness and stress management. Like I said yesterday, mindfulness is a really good technique to reduce stress, and that can help manage symptoms by calming the nervous system and reducing the psychological triggers for FND. So when you feel overwhelmed, I know it's hard, but your body's gonna tell you. I usually have that really weird feeling on my chest that I something is wrong, and it's going like it's stronger, 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 and at some point I'm like, okay, you need to listen to yourself, stop everything that you're doing. You're overwhelmed. Just go and do some mindfulness and stress management, and
Mhm.
I usually do much better after that. I can actually get back to my activities after maybe an hour or two without having that big episode that is usually going to happen if you're not listening to your body. Like I said yesterday, I would have had migraine for probably a day or two if I didn't do anything about it uh, fast. It's about
Exactly.
recognizing and learning about your body, and it's not doing you're not never gonna do that in one day. It's gonna be a matter of years to learn about yourself and get better.
And then, while there's no cure for FND, one of the last things that I'm going to talk about is psychiatric medication. Um, Medications might be used to treat coexisting mental health conditions like depression or anxiety. Um, it can help manage the symptoms, but it's not a cure all. It's just going to help manage symptoms. There's no cure for FND. It's just managing symptoms.
It's a band-aid. It's
Yeah.
it's
Mm,
gonna help us,
yeah.
and usually with
It's
mental
just
health,
about it's just about exactly. It's just about finding what combination of medication is going to work for you. And I'll tell you, I am on a cocktail of medication that fits in a dosette that I just take because it numbs the pain that I'm in every single day.
yeah, yeah, I get it.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm not advocating for a medication. I talk to your
oh no.
doctor.
And it's
I'm
really
not
important that you know that with
yeah.
FND, some bodies are really having a hard time because they're so on the edge all the time. New medication can
Mm.
be a stressor, can be a trauma for the body. I actually started painting the the day my psychiatrist changed my uh, antidepressant, and I never stopped. Um, so my body, I can now say that my body is reacting really weird to medication, and that most of them are not working. But I don't want to try to go down that road too too bad, because it's just, I know it can have some bad effects on my body and could get me worse. So I'm not trying as much medication as other could. I just try to find other ways to get better. For I use CBD for my pain in my legs. I use alternative medicine to help me on the daily.
Yeah. For me, with medication, I always say, well, I live my life by the phrase, all magic comes at a price. And with medication comes a lot of good things, but it also comes with some bad things. And are the good things worth the bad things? That's for the
Yeah,
person to
exactly.
decide. And that's the same with anything. If I really want to do something and I think, oh, that's going to trigger me, is it worth the side effects? And making those decisions and making those kind of sensible ideas of what's right for me on how to move forward with things.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah. What about
Okay.
stigma in mental health? Can you tell us a little bit about that, Amy?
So yeah, stigma. There's still considerable stigma around FND, and that can impact on mental health and feel very isolated. And I mean, and that's why what you guys are doing is really important, because it does give that community and people who you can talk to that understand. I've been around health professionals that have talked about people with FND who said seizures while doing air quotes with their fingers, and as
I
much
saw
Mhm.
that too. Yeah.
that there's those opinions and the bias is pretty like it's embedded, and a real shame. And we were talking earlier about when it's been on TV and not being really displayed in a very what's the what kind of word
Positive manner.
yeah positive manner,
Yeah,
and how that can lead to people forming like opinions and biases that are just not accurate and increase this kind of level of
exactly.
stigma.
Well, stigma is also
And it can
in
happen
mental
from
health.
medical professionals, but also your
Yeah.
loved ones as well who don't understand, and
Oh yeah.
it's really isolating. So I'm so pleased that you guys have started doing what you're doing.
Yeah, we actually have a
Thank you.
podcast that we're gonna put on our YouTube channel about overcoming the stigma. We did it on another
Mm.
platform, but we will be having it on YouTube and Spotify soon. But
That's
stigma,
brilliant. Get that education out there.
exactly. But stigma in mental health, like even if it's depression or like things that people knows about, it's already stigmatized so much. It's
Yeah.
so mental health in general is a very hard. Any illness that is invisible is hard to understand. So
Hmm.
it's even worse when you're
Mm.
like, oh, I have FND and nobody knows about it. It's just like, oh, next level.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm at work, sometimes I run into people with FND and they get so excited to see somebody that understands and knows it, and then it's like, "Oh, what are your symptoms? These are
Yeah,
mine."
right?
And it's really nice for them, I think, to
Yeah,
have that experience and know that they're speaking to somebody who gets it,
Yes, yes.
because so many don't.
And you can have
yeah,
two
no,
person next to each other. They have different symptoms, like all of them. Both of them
Mm,
have different symptoms, but this is FND for both of them. So it's really hard to
yeah.
just put them in the same category, and it's hard to. We want to make sure that we're giving as much information to the community, because it's so broad that uh, people need to identify themselves and all that, but it's not everybody has the same symptoms. It's really
that's why we did a poll in the group
yes.
about all the symptoms. Yeah, and we had how many votes? 200, over 200 votes, I believe.
It's not. I don't think we got 200 votes, but we reached 200 people in the community.
Oh, yeah,
So
something like that. It was a lot of people. It was a lot of people we reached.
yeah,
Mm.
we're getting somewhere. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to recovery and rehabilitation. So, as we kind of talked, there can be a link between mental health and FND, and so supporting your mental health can be crucial in rehabilitation and help patients to gradually resume activities, manage symptoms, improve quality of life. So, I thought I would talk about a few things that might help people understand their mental health, maybe a few skills that could be used, and go from there, really. So as we've kind of already covered a bit, it's really important to notice your triggers, whether you're journaling, looking about what happened beforehand, and then you can make adaptations. So for example, if I know that I'm going to have a bad time every time I go to the supermarket, I can think, can I get someone to go to the supermarket for me? Can I do an online shop? But without knowing that, you're just going to keep going to the supermarket or whatever it is and going around in a loop. So it's really important to kind of check in with yourself and notice these things. We also kind of just talked earlier about kind of noticing what's going on, checking in with yourself and your body and learning your emotions and things like that. Again, I think so many people say they go from 0 to 100, but actually they're already at 80. They just didn't realize they were at 80 because they've adapted. A bit like, if you have an air conditioner on in the room and it's humming away, and eventually you just stop hearing it because you're so used to it.
Yes.
But that air conditioner is still going, much like the kind of sensory world that we're in. It's still blasting at us and that stress is still there. We've just kind of blocked it out.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't take very much for us to get into that kind of crisis mode.
The
Yeah.
the body's always gonna adapt, even if it's pain.
Yeah,
It's gonna trick you.
exactly. So it's so important, especially in the world we're in, just to kind of do a check-in with yourself when you can. The HALT model's really good, so that's HALT. And so just at times go, am I hungry? That's what the H stands for. A stands for angry. Am I angry? L, lonely. T, tired. So if you're hungry, maybe have a snack bar. In my drawer next to my bed, I have a load of cereal bars just so I can make sure that I have something on hand that I can grab, that I don't have to cook or worry about
Yeah.
right there when needed. If you're angry, maybe write something down, punch the pillow. I'm a big fan of the scream. Personally,
Yeah.
I love screaming.
I love screaming. Yep.
Get it out. If you're lonely, the Discord, check in with people who understand. Connection's so important to people.
Yeah.
And T, if
Yeah.
you're tired, if you can, try and take a nap or do something restful.
Yeah.
And then by doing that, maybe you are like close to 80, but you can just drop down a few degrees. And then if something unexpected or bad happens, you can be in the place to handle it rather than it tipping you over the edge. So a few things kind of like we talked about, you've done a podcast on spoon theory, haven't you? Or energy accounting?
We did
I just wanted
introduce
to
it, but just do a little summary of what
a
it
little
is.
thing. It's basically, you could say, so you've got so many spoons for the day, or you've got so much energy for the day, and doing activities like brushing your teeth, washing your face is going to deplete that energy. And it's kind of deciding how you're going to spend that energy to do everything you want. And the problem is, most of the time, all the activities you want to do, you don't have enough energy for,
Yeah.
which is really difficult. So again, like when I say, oh, magic comes at a price, I'm thinking about, can I do this, but I won't be able to do this, or
You need to
trying to
choose.
work out and budget
Sometimes you
my
need.
energy accordingly to get the best outcome for the day.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to choose between making yourself like cooking something for yourself or taking a shower because you don't have energy for
Yeah,
both.
exactly.
That is really common. And it's also I love the spoon theory because you can quantify to your loved ones how much energy you have, because lots of people are not going to understand that you have limited energy.
Mhm.
So you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I have that much spoon today, and that's about what I can do. So if you're taking
Mm,
3 spoons from me, I won't be able to do those things. And like it's it's it just
It
helps
makes
with
so much sense.
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, for family and
absolutely.
kids, it's a good one for with kids too. They understand it pretty well, so yeah, I love that
A lot
one.
of
Yeah.
gamers like to use mana instead. So like my mana's getting low because I've cast so many spells. That's
Yeah.
lots of ways
Yeah.
of kind of looking at it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
but it's always relevant, and it's always, to have a look and think about that is really important. But I kind of wanted to build on that a bit to talk about like stressors and kind of what's been coined as fork theory. I can't remember who to credit with it, but if I remember, I'll pop it in the comments. But basically, that's like you stick a fork into you, and you've got all these forks in you, and each fork represents a stressor. Some are quite small, some are quite big, and these stresses get you higher and higher and higher in your kind of heightenedness. So it's what can you take out that would help? For me, having the overhead light, big bright light on, that's a stressor, and that's a very easy fork to remove by just switching on a lamp.
Mm.
It could be something that comes out from Holt, being hungry or being lonely. And can you reach out? Can you do something about these things? And just try and pull these out. Some will have to stay there because that's life. But it's looking at what can you do to kind of decrease the stresses that are on your body,
There are,
even if it's only a couple of percent.
yeah, there are some small forks that you can handle, and that is gonna get you in a better mental state in general because you don't have as much pressure from all the forks.
Yeah,
But it's sure that some are gonna stay there, but try to handle the ones that you can
absolutely.
handle.
And more are probably going to appear at any time, so you want to make sure that you've got the space mentally to be able to take those.
Yeah.
And so, what can you do? What can make you more comfortable? Very much good for looking at that. The boom bust cycle, which I'm sure many people are struggle with. It's like you have no energy, you have a bad day, you've been feeling rubbish, and then suddenly you're having a good day and you have lots of energy, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much I want to do, and I'm tidying the house and I'm
I
getting all
did
my
that
shopping.
yesterday.
And now you're
So
paying
I
for
am
it.
so that's why so I have no spoons today. I have no spoons to give today.
Well, you're still doing a podcast. It's pretty good. It's a lot of spoons. But yeah, it's always fun when you're getting that energy and you're like, okay, I postponed this until I had energy, so I need to do the things. But
Do
if you're
that.
doing
Yeah.
two of them, too much of them, you're gonna get back to where you were. So you need to make sure that you
Burn yourself out again. Exactly.
pacing
Yeah.
yourself so you can do a little bit every single day instead of a big
Yeah.
shot and then
Hmm.
being on recovery for a few days. Yeah, this one is. It's a really
Exactly.
important one.
So it's just to be mindful, exactly. Should I do this extra thing, or really should I be giving myself the rest? And maybe this section will last a bit longer, or I'm better prepared for when things do go wrong.
And usually the body is not going to tell you until it's too late.
Too late. Yeah, that's the thing.
And so you need to be aware, you need to be mindful of what you're doing and make sure that
Elizabeth, why didn't you tell me?
because you will do it no matter what.
Stop already.
Because
Oh, you
even
should have warned me. No, I'm kidding.
even if
I'm
even
so
if I'm
kidding.
telling that today, I did that a week ago. So it's like even if we know about it, we it's hard to
Oh,
quantify
it's
how
so hard to
much.
stop. It's so hard to stop,
But
especially when like it was my in-laws. Like I wanted to visit with them and like I haven't seen them since Christmas and you want to do this all the things, but it's so hard with FND that you when you
yeah,
can't do all the
Yeah,
things.
and sometimes you're
yeah.
like, it's just a small thing. I'm just gonna have some people
A
over, and we're
lunch. It
gonna
was a lunch and I didn't cook. There was nothing to cook. It was a salad and cold like lunch meat.
yeah.
That's all it was. It was cold food, and I'm still just I'm gonna use a British word. I'm just I don't know. I was going to, but I lost
Oh,
it.
I was
I love
excited.
the British word. No.
Give me some
I was gonna.
British.
It left my brain. I was gonna say knackered, knackered.
Oh, knackered. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Yep.
I have no
There,
idea.
there. Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, but it's really important.
Okay.
It's so I just want to add something. It's really hard to quantify everything. It's important
Mm,
to know and to be able to maybe sometimes when you're starting that, you need to quantify
mm.
maybe with spoons or maybe with other ways
Yeah,
How much
exactly.
would it take me through that? And then every time you're um going to another task, you're like, okay, am I able to do this or not? How much spoon did I take? Like, take a little
Yeah,
mindful
Yeah.
break, so like you know that, okay, can I do that or not? But it's really hard when you're in the moment and you're like, okay, I feel
yeah,
good, I'm gonna do it, and I don't
Yeah,
know when. I don't
absolutely.
know
yeah,
when it's gonna be the next time I'm gonna be able to be so productive. So it's hard.
exactly. It's really hard. It's really hard, especially when it's for something so good. It's hard to say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's always just one more thing, maybe just one more small thing.
Yeah,
And for me, I've learned, because I know myself quite well, doing one new or big thing is good. Doing two, I should think about. Doing three, I should stop.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's significant things for me. And I begin to find that after three, things tend to go wrong. So,
that's true. That's true. Like, two
and it's just
things are
learning
usually
what
my, yeah.
where you are.
That's true. But like two significant, like two activities. It's not like
Mhm.
but I would say that even cooking is an activity. For me,
yeah,
showering is an
Yeah,
activity.
absolutely.
So
Cooking's
it's
so stressful. Oh,
I
honestly.
know. So it's not like activities that you're doing and you're going out and you're doing the things. It's even requiring even
Mm,
more energy to do that. So if you know you're
yeah.
having a big activity, just one. If you know you're not having too much energy, maybe two.
Mm,
Maybe. But like you're having a pretty good day, two. Three is can be overwhelming for your body usually.
yeah, absolutely.
all
I guess
right.
something else I want to talk about was like anxiety getting in the way of things. Say, for example, you've got a hospital appointment and
Mm.
you're kind of very much, well, what if I have a seizure? What if this happens? What if that happens?
What
I
if I
think
get
it's really
dismissed?
helpful to try and
What if I get
reframe
dismissed?
that as kind of even
Yeah.
if so even if I have a seizure at the hospital, there'll be lots of people around who will be able to help me. Even if I have a seizure, I have my lanyard around my neck so people
Mm.
will be able to identify and know what to do. Even if I do that, I'll have done something that I feel is important to me, or anything, or even if I have a seizure, at least when I get home I have a really nice set of things to do for myself. So it just kind of adds a bit of safety because you're thinking ahead, and also kind of taking away some of that what if
Yeah,
which I think is really helpful.
I actually have I'm feeling the other way around. When I have a medical appointment, I know I'm gonna feel dismissed. I know I'm not gonna get any help.
Yeah,
So like the PTSD of hospital is really a thing
yeah.
in our community.
So even if I'm dismissed, I know that I am very confident in what I know is right. Or
Yeah,
even if
I
Yeah,
I'm
me
dismissed, there'll be another doctor that maybe will understand me, or something like that.
yeah, always advocate for yourself. It's important and make
Yeah,
sure that you're
absolutely. Even if I
getting
am
good help.
dismissed, at least I
absolutely.
advocate for myself, and I'm proud of myself for doing that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's a nice way of kind of looking at the situation in a different way, I think.
I think so too.
Exactly.
Um, so other things I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit was when you're heightened. So there's grounding exercises. I could go through some of those.
Yeah,
Um, if you're out and about, I find it's, everyone kind of talks about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can
oh
smell.
yeah, yeah.
I get anxious with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because I never remember what the numbers stand for, and I get so worked
Yeah.
up trying to remember what's what unless I have it written. It just doesn't work for me. Very helpful for some people. Very helpful if you have it written down.
You need to
So for me,
remember
I
it.
think
That's the thing. We need to remember it.
I like to focus on one thing. So like maybe a D&D dice, one of those
Mm,
six-sided ones, and like kind of feel it, look at the color, feel the point, see if I can guess which numbers are on the side just by touching it.
yeah.
Deep focus on one thing. Or if you're out and about, you could have your thing in your pocket, or look for things of a certain color. Like if I pick orange, then I'll look, oh, that sign's orange, that bit of the floor's orange. And that
Yeah.
just helps with grounding as you're out and about to help you keep you kind of below that kind of super
Well,
heightened state.
distraction is good in any way. Sensory distraction,
Yeah.
anything. as long as you're not thinking about what is making you anxious, you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
breathing exercises are great. I know lots of different
Yes.
breathing exercises. Some people find them really difficult. I used to. I found that if I use an anchor with breathing, it helps a lot for me. So if I say, being autistic, I tend to use a stim. So I will rock as I breathe,
Yes.
and that just helps with it. Some people can use their hand and kind of open and close their hand as they breathe. Some people take a pen and draw, then you can make a really lovely piece of art.
Mm,
There's so many different types of breathing. There's box breathing, so four, in for
Yeah.
four, hold for four, out for
yeah.
four, hold for four,
Yeah.
and round and round and round.
And if
I
you're
particularly like,
Yeah, and if you're having a hard time just doing that, there are
mm,
videos on YouTube that are gonna guide you through it. So it's gonna
yeah,
even tell you what to do at what time, and you can just relax and just follow
yeah,
the
and just
voice,
follow the video.
so you don't have to
There's
deal
so
with
much
anything.
information on YouTube.
Yes, I
Oh, it's
know.
fantastic.
Yeah.
My favorite breathing exercise, just to leave you with one, is I like to imagine I've got a big bunch of flowers. So in through my nose as I'm smelling a big bunch of flowers,
Mm,
and then out as if I'm blowing out a huge birthday cake full of candles. So out my mouth, so
yes.
and I find the visualization helps me get the timing right and really think about how I'm doing it. When I get numbers, much like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I get all confused with the numbers and start focusing on the numbers, and the breathing comes second, and it all goes a bit
Yeah.
wrong.
Mm,
Yeah, I get
Other
it.
people are the other way around. They love the numbers. But it's looking at what's right for you, because not every technique is right for everyone. And how can
yeah.
you make that technique work for you, which I think is
And
really important.
something can work for
And
someone but not work for someone else. It's we need to
Exactly.
try it.
absolutely,
Try it and see.
absolutely. And practice it when you're feeling okay, when
Yes.
it feels silly to practice and a bit odd, because when you're heightened, I can promise you it's so much harder. You can't think, you can't make good decisions and see options when things are heightened.
Mm,
So
Yeah.
practice and get good at it when you're feeling okay, even if it does feel silly. And I think the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about is making a go-to book, which is for when you feel heightened. It's an all-in-one stop shop of all the things to do. So you can put some affirmations that mean a lot to you in there. You can put the breathing exercises in there, so they're all written out, and the grounding exercise, so you can just follow them step by step. You can put any helplines in there for people that you want to contact, also friends and family who you might want to contact if you have friends and family. I
yeah.
saying before that sometimes it's really hard to approach people. A lot of people go, "Oh, you should call me when you're feeling, feeling unwell or heightened or in crisis." And a lot of people think, "Oh, I didn't know where to start and I didn't know what to do." So sometimes it's nice to have a conversation and say, "I want to put you as my contact in my go-to book for when I'm having a mental health crisis."
Mm.
And then you can start
Because
the conversation with, I said I could have you in my contact, and then it kind of just sets thing rather than going, "Hi,
and
how are
when you
you?" And
when
that
you
kind of awkward.
yeah, and when you feel so overwhelmed, you're not able to
Mm,
think about who I could reach, who I could like. You just open that
yeah,
book and you're like, okay,
and
I
it's
remember
there.
that I had that person I can reach to. I'm gonna do that.
Hmm.
It has to be a no-brainer because when you're when
Yeah,
you're overwhelmed, it's not time to think. It's time to react. So
absolutely. And in there you can put pictures of
yeah,
people and your pets that you love, or anything that you love really. If you're a big fan of the Eiffel Tower, stick a load of pictures of the Eiffel
yeah,
Tower.
yeah,
Whatever brings you joy. I put things to Google because I know that there's videos on there. So there's a certain artist that I like, so I put my favorite video, Google this, a
yeah.
comedy video that I really like. I put Google Bob Mortimer talks about doing his own dentistry. I don't know how many people will understand that, but if you do, and then, I'll go through the steps, I'll watch the videos, I'll do the exercises, go through that. I'll have sensory stuff in there. So I might put in some sour sweets.
Yeah.
Sour sweets are really good if you're feeling really heightened because they force you to focus on the horrible sourness of them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, you just go, ooh, you can't think about the outside.
There's nothing else.
So I put the link in for the FND Warriors hardcover journal.
Yes.
Yeah.
The So I put it in there. So that I think that would be a great journal that we could use for that book that you were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you've got all those things there in front of you. That would be a great thing to use for yourself. And, you know, you can put in like positive feedback or nice thank you letters that people have sent you through
Mm,
the years, anything that kind of builds your worth and like makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I think that, you know, it's got a few good things. Basically, you've got a one-stop shop of everything that you need, and you don't have to think. You don't have to think, what do I need to do? You can just follow the instructions. And, you know, it's a way of taking control as well. And it also can distract you for long enough, hopefully, for maybe some of these feelings to subside a little bit.
yeah.
They often say that, like, when your nervous system is like heightened, you know, it's like a blood pressure monitor, and it's going on your arm. It's getting
Yeah,
tighter and tighter and tighter until it feels like it's going to squeeze your arm off, and you can't bear it any longer. But then it stops and it starts to come down, and it's just getting through that bit where it feels like so unbearable,
Yes.
the bit where it calms down.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
in the in case of emergency book, like
Exactly. Just come here and just go through it. Anything that makes you feel good, put it in there. Affirmations, pictures, things to Google,
nice.
all of it.
Well, there are
Um,
all really nice tricks that can
yeah.
help.
It was great
And
information, Amy.
and yeah, I think the last thing is just an element of acceptance, like that was mentioned before, and like, you know, bad things are going to happen sometimes, and it's just preparing for that
mm,
and looking for things that would make you feel better afterwards and being kind to yourself,
yes,
which is always tough,
it's
but so
always tough.
important.
You are
Yeah,
worth it. You are,
so
and
hard.
one thing at a time, and one day at a time, and do what you can with what you have. It's
Mm-hmm.
so hard sometimes because like, oh, I don't have a therapist, I don't have this, I don't have that. Try to make
Yeah,
it work with what you have. I know it's not always easy, but
absolutely.
it's you're gonna get better at handling it when you're doing it more often. The more often you're doing
Exactly.
it,
Absolutely.
it's gonna get better. To not just to handle it, just to handle stress. Um.
Mhm.
So yeah, thank you,
So
thank you
I'm
so
gonna get
much,
a little
Amy, for
corny here.
well, thank you so much, Amy, for joining us today. That was very valuable information, and
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
thank you.
really good information, and
yeah,
we're so glad to have you. And we're beyond grateful that you've taken the time for everybody who's listened to us today to listen to our podcast. Your support means the world to all of us. And I'm going to get really corny here. If you've enjoyed what you've seen and listened to, why not hit the subscribe button? If you let's keep the good vibes going by smashing that like button too. Want to show even more love? Check out our merch and donation links in the description below. Every dollar is going to the creation of our nonprofit. And hey, if you're looking to connect with others who get it, our FND Warrior movement is waiting for you on Facebook. Join us. Let's
yeah,
make some memories and support each other. From all of us FND Warriors, a massive heartfelt thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the next podcast.
yes. And all the links are in the comments, in the description. And like I said earlier, the podcast on coping mechanism is going to be online soon. We will share that link on Facebook and Discord when it's going to happen. But yeah, that was fun. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And
You're most welcome. Can't wait to listen to coping mechanisms.
yeah, exactly. So goodbye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.